And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in our neighborhood. It's I, John D.N.,
Kanika,
a.k.a.
Do
And Too Much Podcast. Rescripting the culture, one conversation at a time.
Lord.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Recovering from remnants of the Ebola bug, vid-19, and whatever.
Look, this man was sick for a whole week and it was taking everybody down. Part of it might have been my fault. Because I had listened to someone tell me like, oh, try this natural tea, give it to him and he can sip on it and he'll be great. And he sipped on it until it started giving him GI issues. And then that scared everybody. I said, see, I need to just stick to the stuff I know, not be trying to incorporate stuff that people that told me work. So I almost took your boy out the game a little bit, but you're back.
I am. I just hate that I missed a whole week before spring break. I couldn't really see I didn't see my students. So in my mind, I'm like, M-Step is coming up. So that's like March Madness for us. And I missed a whole week. So I got a week when we get back. But we it's not like we skated throughout the year. So That 1 week's not going to hurt us. But how was your week? I mean, other than taking care of me.
Oh, it was tiring. I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad that you got well. I guess, I'm glad that we're at the point where we're into spring break where everybody can kind of relax.
For sure. I got a question for you. I was wondering, what is something about you that I'm still not understanding? Like I don't fully grasp. I use like, he just still does not know me. He's not getting it. Like what's something, and the reason why I'm asking this is because there are parts of you that I feel like you say this you, and then I feel like over the course of time, it'll change. But I was talking with a good friend of mine and was like, when they asked this question, I was like, maybe that's something that is not ever going to change. And I'm like playing this game thinking because I'm wired this way and I could be causing a rift and it's not even on purpose. It's because I'm supposed to be a compliment thinking like, I'm going to just keep doing this because. So it made me really wonder, like, am I forcing my will on you causing a conflict and it's not necessary? So I was wondering, what's something I don't get about you or I'm just not getting? And I promise, whatever you say right now, I promise, I'm going to show you how serious I am. Like, what I'm really good at, like trying to figure out if it's something I can do or not.
Yeah.
But if you tell me it's something that I can't do, it will go to the part where that goes. Like I will not put any effort to it. It will just go to something else. And the reason why I say that, because I don't want to bother you like how you may not be in the mood and I bother you anyway, thinking like, no, this is just me. But if you're really, I need to respect that. Is this making sense?
Kind of. Like if I could, this is one of the things that when we were younger, I didn't think that it was as much of an issue. But now I realize as adults, it comes up a lot in many different forms. And it's not necessarily, I think, in the realm of what you're talking about, but how we were talking earlier about how, or maybe it was yesterday, I think more in the perspective of communal and you're more individualistic. Sometimes when we have conversations, so yesterday we had a conversation where we were talking about the state of the political climate in the United States and looking at the things that are going on. And this also is something that I need to learn how to better, not just you fix something, me fix something. So we were talking about the things that were going on politically and how there were certain groups of people who had voted, and it appears that based on what's happening right now, they voted against their interests. And now it's kind of the fallout is taking place, right? And so when I was talking to John about it, he said, I really feel like, maybe the system just needs to be broken. Like, yeah, it's looking kind of crazy. Maybe the system needs to be broken. And what that will allow is for a new system to develop that may be better, that may fit us better. my perspective is you can't break everything up, because that means that we have to destroy protective services that may not impact us directly, but it impacts us like indirectly. Some of these services people are talking about dismantling or changing. Like, our parents are older, so Medicare matters, Medicaid matters. We have children in our family, all across our family, that are in need of services that come from like the Department of Education. They kind of regulate the enforcement of IEPs and 504s and things like that. Those types of things, free lunch, low income services to Title I schools, all those things. And so when all of these things are happening, yes, it doesn't feel like it's touching us, but it's touching somebody we know. And it's touching a lot of people, like across the board. Even if it wasn't my family, it's somebody's family, and it's putting people in a rough spot. And so I'm like, don't dismantle it. If you see a problem, then go in and fix that problem. But don't take out the entire system, because the amount of time it took to develop up to this point, tear it all down, it's going to take decades to get it to a point where people are adequately supported. And so when we were talking, I was getting upset with him because he was like, maybe these things need to happen. But I'm thinking to myself, what about everybody else? Like, what about everybody else? Even with me, my income, it comes from federal funds because of the programs I work for. And so I have a fear of what is happening, like, not like to the point where I can't think outside of, or I'm overly stressed, but I have an understanding that it could touch us at some point. We don't know what's happening. And so I got frustrated because it felt like, well, it ain't like, I'm not feeling it. So let's just ride it out. Like, we're not going to be worried about it. Maybe it's going to be okay. Let whatever happen. That's how I felt. He was saying to me, and it made me upset. Like, and I don't know why, because I know in the past we've had conversations about how you look at your family. You think about your family, and all the other stuff on the outside. That's not some stuff you can control, but what goes on with us, that's what you're most concerned about. That's what you're going to go with. I don't think that way. And it frustrated me, but Don, it's from the beginning of time, you've been like that. Even when I was younger, when we would have conversations about different things, it would frustrate me. But I think when it all came down to it, I told him, I said, I'm so cautious I'm hopeful and I'm cautious, and you're too optimistic. Whatever, the world could be burning. John is like, okay, so what could come of this that could be positive? That's what I'm gonna go with. And when he talks about it, it makes me feel like you don't care about what's happening or the importance of how it can impact people. And in the conversation we had yesterday afterward, when we were kind of exchanging apologies, he was saying, look, I can't worry about the things I cannot control. The safest thing for me to do, the best thing for me to do, is to be optimistic and hope for the best no matter what. And so I guess when we were having the conversation, when you're asking me what are some things, what was something that I feel like you just don't get about me yet, I feel like in your response, you felt like you were talking to someone who thinks like you. But I feel very strongly when I'm looking out at everybody else that's impacted, even if it doesn't touch us. You think you're talking to me and I think like you. And so it's kind of frustrating to me because I worry and you don't. But at the same time, when I was having this conversation with you, I completely ignored the fact that I know who you are, and you think of your nuclear family. Whereas it's not going to serve me to worry about how everybody else is going to be impacted, because that adds a lot of stress. I was talking to my friend today, and she's talking about all the stress that she's taking on from everything that's going on professionally and personally and all this other stuff. But she's also stressed about everything like in the political climate as well, in addition to her own stuff. And I had to tell her, I said, hey, you know what John told me? And he always says this, you don't worry about the things you can't control. You control the things you can, but the things you can't, like, I was trying to calm her down through the whole conversation. Like, yeah, so don't worry about this. And you have that. And she's like listing all these things off. And the truth is, she has a laundry list of things that are going on right now. It just happens to be the perfect storm. And it's a lot. And then adding the stuff that's going on outside of her is crazy. So, you know, I found myself saying, okay, I got to take, a lesson out of John's book in order to and I think you heard her at the end. She was just like, okay, I'm going to do what John says. But I feel like when we have that conversation and you talk so matter-of-factly about how, well, I don't think it's really going to touch us. And we need to, I don't think we need to worry about this, worry about that. It makes me feel like you don't care. I understand why you don't, but me being the person I am, it makes me feel like you're so callous and it's so hurtful to me.
So do you understand the life I grew up as a child, that I was so selfish?
Yes. Like literally.
But honestly, do I care about people?
Right. You do care about people.
I know, but I'm saying it's like there's a part of me that people want me to have while I'm in front of people. Like, okay, I care enough. But like, I can't do anything.
Right.
So to me, I feel like that's wasted energy. I promise I'm using that energy for good.
I know, but in the moment when you're talking, it's just so matter of fact that this doesn't matter and that doesn't matter. I forget any part of what I know about you already. And it just makes me feel like I'm alone. And I know that that's not.
No, you're not, because I'm the only one that feels this way. Nobody feels like I do.
No. I don't think that that's true either.
Well, I think
that there are
people care more than I do. Well, that's why I said, like, it's very difficult for me to have conversations with you sometimes because I don't know how to care enough.
And that's what I need. Look, I need you to put just a little bit of sauce on it. That's not true. I need you to be just a little, and it's truthfully, it's unfair of me to say, when you talk to me about your real feelings, I need you to like pepper in some of my feelings too, so that I don't get mad and upset.
I don't be knowing though.
I know. But then I'm sitting I think to myself, like yesterday, I was really thinking to myself, with all the things that go on in my core attitudes and beliefs and stuff, how do I continue on? And this isn't to say we got to break up, but how do I continue on in life with all of the things that we're going to face? And I'm constantly going to be in a home with somebody who doesn't see things the way that I see things.
I work with kids every day.
I know.
So I want you to understand this. I was trying to figure out how can I work in the field.
Yeah.
I am, and I want to get better so I am giving them 8 hours of my life.
I know.
And when I come home, I only care about my family.
I know.
So anything outside of my family that I can't do anything about would be cheating my family. So to me, I feel like, why would I put any energy about something that that ain't even my field? That's not nothing that I can do right now because I'm with my family. But if it was, let's say if it was school, I see y'all at work tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But right now, I don't have that energy. So I don't know how to do more than I want to, because before I felt like it was just a distraction keeping me away from loving my family. Mm-hmm. So
I know it's unfair of me. I really, you wonder how alike or how different can you be from your partner in order to be able to move through this life. I mean, we've done it for 16 years. And so it's not like I don't think that I'm going to be able to finish this life out with you. But in my head, I was thinking yesterday, can you really think so differently from someone and be able to because there may be more and more issues that come up. I'm a worrier. So
good?
No. So with all that's going on right now, it's heightened my anxiety. And I think that made me even more extreme or anxious about, as if things get worse, am I going to feel like I'm in this house on my own worrying about everything? But I did come to the conclusion, like later on when we talked, I understand that he's focused on his family, and people should want that. You should want your husband to be mindset on what's happening here, Because if you're spread out all over the world worrying about everybody else and not concentrating about what's going on in this house, that's the real issue. It's your job to be like when I was growing up, my pastor, he said a husband is the house band. They're the person that holds everybody together. They're the person that keeps everything in this controlled space. And even if the wife is the manager, the husband is the house band. And so why wouldn't I want you to be zero laser in focused on the house? So I say all this to say, he asked me this question about what he could change. Don't change it. I guess it's something for me to change where I have to be like, I have to let you be you. I've loved you for you all this time. I think it's just, I have more anxiety lately and I'm worried. But what are you worried for? Who knows? At the end of the day, he's doing what he needs to do. I definitely understand, when you were growing up and everybody said that you were selfish or whatever, it served him. Because, when you talk about how you grew up and then you were like, I had to think about myself. And you up and moved to Michigan at 17. All the things that John does, family could look at it and be like, you are so selfish and self-centered. But truthfully, it's just like he was looking at things and was like, I don't want that for me. So what do I have to do to change it? And then the things you could control, you controlled. So, it was one of the things that I really admired about you. But now, like in this conversation, it started out like, maybe you could change a little bit, but I guess no. I take all that back. I talked for 10, 15 minutes about that, and it wasn't even to change it.
Well, it was still enough for you to hear that you didn't want it changed.
Yeah.
Because you did.
Look, because I was up in this mug like, he made me so sick. I wish he would just, he needs to understand. But, I guess that's what I'm for. And it's another thing about complimenting. You wonder how different you can actually be and be right. And how similar you have to be. But I think one of the main things about our marriage we've always talked about is that being complimentary to one another.
Yes.
And sometimes I think one of the things about our kids is they care about people being okay, but they also are very focused on themselves. So I think they got the best of us in that sense because they had two examples, two very strong personalities pushing two things. So got the best of both worlds.
For sure. I think that the purpose of this episode was to help me or both of us to grow in ways because I didn't realize how serious yesterday was until you started talking today. Like I knew that we kind of got, but I didn't know. I was just like, why is she so adamant about things that we can't control? Like she's mad at me because I don't care. I couldn't understand it until I heard you. And I was just like, oh, yeah, like I do care about those people. I just don't care about it to like
be in an uproar.
Yeah.
I'll be in an uproar. Well, let me ask you though, is there something that you think I don't understand about you?
No, I think that right there, by you saying not to change, that there's a part of me that I'm trying to be cold. And then look, before this episode, I was like, she's going to ask me. And I was like, I want to be so cold that the things that you like about me, that you end up taking from me. So that was like, so the parts about you, I just feel like you are at your peak of distractions, I think. Like you've passed the peak of distractions. Like you were worried about so many things and now it's like coming down, like it's starting to fade out. And I think you're going to find yourself in the next part of life. Like you weren't selfish enough to do what I was able to do. And my job is to make you feel like you safe enough that if you do decide to be selfish, that your household is still in order. So
that's hard for a woman to be able to do.
Without a doubt. But that's something that I feel like now I understand why you can't be where I am, because I'm selfish enough to feel like I can't protect my family unless I'm like this. If I was like this in the beginning, you'd be like, oh, I understand, John. But it's like more of a a different look. You know, I know you said it's still the same John, but it's like now the energy is being focused to protect the family intentionally. So with you, to me, I feel like if I'm ever able to get you vulnerable enough to believe that if you literally walk around with one cell, at least that one cell is doing what you wanted to do, like in toward the direction that you want to become. So I can't say, like, I just have to do a better job at making you feel like you're gonna be all right. Cause you've been doing it the whole time. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so I'm supposed to believe you now because she found God.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So now, like, that's why I said this episode was necessary, because I would have never been able to ask you this question because I've literally asked for some help. And then that question came out, was like, I need to know what I don't know about you. So now I feel so much better. I'm not even gonna lie, like there was a knot in my stomach listening to you, because I don't ever want you to feel that way.
I know.
And I'm like, God dang.
I have big feelings, and they run away like a train sometimes. So, look, I was in here like, can I live like this for the rest of my life?
I know. I was like, God, it's just knot in my stomach. I'm like we really are happy, I think.
I don't know if I can live like this. Yeah, that was different. I know. I'm extreme. And you know what the crazy thing that we always say that John is an extreme. Well, I do. I tell him John's an extremist, this Joker. But me, I'm a whole different type of extreme.
I'm gonna tell you how extreme she is, and then we're gonna go.
Hey.
She asked me if I voted for Trump.
Oh my God. I did. I was like, all this stuff is happening. And I said, did you? Okay, but be for real. Did you vote for him?
It was my heart.
He got up, he said, I can't believe. Hey, got big like a bear. I was like,
I said, what are we doing?
I'm an extra. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out, because he was just like, well, maybe he means to do it like this, and this is what's going to happen. And maybe.
He's trying to break the system. That was the whole thing.
Yeah,
I was just like trying to make sense of it, because she was really amped.
Yeah.
But whatever I was coming up with, she did not want to hear those solutions.
I was like, what? I started, I ain't pulled this sword out in a minute. I feel like he need me too.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, okay. So maybe I am extreme.
Yeah. But anybody want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
No. That's crazy.
I want to give a shout out to any of you who's watching us grow into this relationship that shows that everybody can do it. But it has to be intentional, because if it's not, you would just go back and forth and be like, you know what, I can find somebody else, or I can do it by myself. You can do all of those. But you know what? It is so much better doing it with somebody you want to build with.
Yeah.
Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose.